Chapter 54. A beautiful invalid has her fortune told in a bawdy house. A foolish scholar offers poems to a courtesan. When Pin Niang slept with Chin Mu Nan, she dreamed that he went to Hang Chow to take up his prefectship, then woke up with a start to find the windows bright. She washed and combed her hair, and Chin got up as well. The board came in to wish him good morning, and they had just breakfasted when Chin Hisu Yi arrived and insisted jokingly that Chin should invite him to a wedding feast. "I'm going to the palace today," said Chin. "I'll come back and treat you tomorrow." Chin went into Pin Niang's room and found she had not yet finished combing her hair. Her long black tresses reached halfway to the ground. "Congratulations, Pin Niang," he cried. "What a distinguished guest you've entertained. Just look at you. Not yet fit to be seen at this hour. I'm afraid you're growing spoiled." "What time will you come tomorrow?" he asked Chin. I'll play the flute and Pin Niang can sing to you. There's not another girl in this quarter who sings Li Pa's songs to the peony as well as she does." As he was speaking, Pin Niang flicked the dust from Chin's cap with her handkerchief. "Be sure now to come this evening," she implored him. "Don't keep me waiting too long." Having promised to come, Chin walked out and went home with his 2 attendants. Since he had no money left, he sent an attendant to the palace with another note asking the 9th Mr. Hisu to lend him another 200 taels so that he would have enough to spend. After some time, his man came back and reported, "Mr. Hisu sends you his greetings, sir. The 3rd master has just arrived from Peking. He has been appointed prefect of Chang Chow and Fukin, and he'll be sitting out for his new post in a day or 2. The 9th Mr. Hisu will go to Fukin with him to help him out. He says he'll call tomorrow to say goodbye and bring the silver with him." "If the 3rd master is here," said Chin, "I better call on him." He mounted his chair and was carried to the palace, followed by his attendants. When he was announced, a steward came out to say, "The 3rd and 9th masters have gone to a feast with Prince Mu. If you have any message, sir, I can pass it on." "I have no special business," answered Chin. "I came simply to pay my respects to the 3rd master." He went back to his lodgings. The next day, the 3rd and 9th Hisu brothers came to his riverside house to say goodbye. They alighted from their chairs at his door, and Chin asked them into his hall and offered them seats. "We have not met for a long time," said the 3rd Mr. Hisu. "You are looking more handsome than ever. When your mother died, I was far away in Peking and could not come back to mourn for her in person. I am sure you have become a fine scholar during my absence. My mother has been dead now for more than 3 years. Because I admired my 9th cousin's scholarship, I came to Nanking to profit by his instruction morning and evening. If he accompanies you to your post in Fukin, I shall miss you both very much." "Why not come with us, cousin?" suggested the 9th Mr. Hisu. "You'll be good company during the long journey." "I would like to, but there are 1 or 2 small matters I must attend to first." "In 2 or 3 months I shall join you at your post, cousin." The 9th Mr. Hisu told the servant to bring in a gift box containing 200 taels and give it to Mr. Chin. "I am looking forward to your visit," said the 3rd brother. "I shall want your help in my new post." "I shall certainly come and try to be of service." By now they had drunk their tea, and the brothers rose to go. Chin escorted them back to the palace in his chair. He saw them all the way to their boat, then said goodbye and went home. Chin Hisu Yi was waiting there to take them to Welcome Pavilion. They walked through the gate and into Pin Niang's room, but found her looking very pale and unwell. "Not seeing Mr. Chin for several days has brought that old heartburn of yours back," said Chin. "She's been spoiled since she was a child," declared the board. And she has had this heart disease which comes on whenever she's vexed. Because you didn't come back for 2 days, sir, she said she must have annoyed you and fell ill." With tears in her eyes, Pin Niang gazed at Chin in silence. "Where does it hurt?" he asked. "What do you need to get better? When you had this trouble before, how did you cure it?" "When she had this trouble before," replied the board, she wouldn't swallow so much as a drop of water. The doctor came and prescribed some medicine for her, but she wouldn't take it because it tasted so bitter. and I had to boil ginseng and give it to her little by little. That's how I pulled her through. I've silver here, said Chin. I'll leave you 50 taels to buy ginseng for her. I shall buy some of the best ginseng too, and bring it here myself. Pin Niang leant against her embroidered pillow to listen, sitting up inside her quilt. She was wearing a scarlet bodice. Bodice. Whenever I have this illness, she said with a sigh, I don't know why, but I always feel so frightened. The doctors say if you eat nothing but ginseng, it brings out all the hot humors. So I used to mix it with gentian and brew them together. That was the only way I could get any sleep at night. If not for that, I'd lie wide awake till dawn. That's easy, said Chin. I'll bring you some gentian tomorrow too. They set no store by ginseng and gentian in the palace, said Chin. Pin Niang won't be able to finish all Mr. Chin brings her. I don't know why it is, said Pin Niang, but my heart feels all aflutter. If I close my eyes, I have such ridiculous dreams that even in the daytime I'm rather frightened. You're too delicate, said Chin. You can't stand any hardship or disappointment. Do you think you've offended some spirit? Inquired the board. I can ask the abbess to exorcise you. That same moment a clapper was heard outside. The board went out and saw it was Pen Hue, abbess of Long Life Nunnery, who had come to collect the monthly offerings. Aya, cried the board. So it's Abbess Pen. I've not seen you for 2 months. Have you been very busy at the nunnery? The truth is, ma'am, I've had bad luck this year. One of my nuns, who was 20, died the month before last. I couldn't even hold the mass to Kuan Yin. How is your daughter-in-law? She's well one day, ill the next, replied the board. I'm glad to say the 4th Mr. Chen of Taiping is looking after her. He's a cousin of the 9th Mr. Hisu in the palace and often comes to my house. But Pin Niang was born unlucky. Her old trouble has started again. Go in and have a look at her. The abbess followed her into Pin Niang's room. This is the 4th Mr. Chen of the palace, said the board. Abbess Pen stepped forward and greeted him. This is Abbess Pen, Mr. Chen, said Chen Hisu Yi. She's well versed in religious matters. After greeting Chen, the abbess went up to the bed to look at Pin Niang. We were speaking just now of driving out the evil spirit, said Chen. Why not ask Abbess Pen to perform the ceremony for us? I can't exorcise evil spirits, replied the abbess. I'll just have a look at her color. She sat down on the edge of the bed. Pin Niang knew this woman, of course, but when she looked up and saw the sallow face and shaven head, she seemed to see the abbess of her dream. It gave her a great shock. Excuse me, she cried, and covered her head with the quilt. Your daughter-in-law is upset, said Abbess Pen. I'd better leave you now. She said goodbye to them all and left the room. When the board had paid her monthly offerings, the abbess went off with her clapper in her left and her wallet in her right. Chin went home too and gave his attendant some silver to buy ginseng and gentian. His landlady, Mrs. Tung, came out leaning on a stick. There's nothing wrong with you, Mr. Chin, she said. Why are you buying all that ginseng and gentian? I hear you've been amusing yourself outside. I'm your landlady and an old woman, so I haven't liked to say anything. But don't you know the proverb? A whole boatload of gold and silver won't be enough for a courtesan. Women like that don't have any heart at all, I'll tell you. When your money is spent, they'll turn their backs on you. I'm over 70 now, and I read the Buddhist scriptures. As Kuan Yin is my witness, how can I watch and say nothing when I see you treated like this? You are right, ma'am, I know, said Chin. They asked me in the palace to buy this ginseng and gentian. To escape a further scolding, he went on, I doubt if my men know what to buy. I must see to it myself. He went to the medicine shop to find his attendants, and brought half a caddy each of ginseng and gentian, then carried this like a treasure to Welcome Pavilion. As soon as he entered the gate, he heard a 3-stringed fiddle being played inside. The board had hired a blind man to tell Pin Niang's fortune. Having given the medicine to the board, the young man sat down to listen. The girl is 17 this year and is going to have great good fortune, said the blind man. A noble star is coming into her life. Not all her influences are so auspicious, though. An evil spirit is making trouble for her and causing her anxiety. Still, this will not prove too serious. Excuse me for speaking frankly, but the girl has offended another wicked spirit. She must dedicate herself to one of the bodhisattvas if she wants to counteract this evil influence. Then she'll marry an official, wear a chaplet and splendid robes, and be a great lady." He raised his fiddle and sang again, then stood up to take his leave. The board made him stay for some tea and brought out a dish of walnut wafers and another of black dates, which he put on a little dish. She made him sit down again. A slave girl poured out the tea and offered him some. Is your business good in Nanking?" said Qin. "Don't speak of it," said the blind man. "It's nothing like in the old days. In the past, we blind folk were the only ones to tell fortunes. But nowadays, people who can see have taken to fortune-telling too, and squeezed us out of business. 20 years ago, there was a Qin Hofu in Nanking, not a local man. As soon as he arrived, he grabbed all the business with official families. He's dead now, but he left a scoundrelly son who married into my neighbor's family and quarrels every day with his father-in-law. They don't give us any peace. When I go home, I shall hear them squabbling again." He stood up, thanked them, and left. When he reached a lane on East Garden, sure enough, he heard Qin Hofu's son, Qin Su Yuan, quarreling with his wife's father. "You tell fortunes outside every day," said the father-in-law. "You must make a dozen cash. But if you spend it all gorging yourself on pigs' heads and flaky cakes, and don't bring a copper home, do you expect me to feed your wife for you? All right, you may ask, she's my daughter. Why don't you pay for the pork you eat? Instead, you ask me for the money and make such a scene about it. What did I do to deserve such bad luck? If you'd eaten the pig's head yourself, Dad, you'd have to pay up. You fool, if I ate it myself, of course I'd pay, but you ate it. Let's suppose I've already paid you the money, Dad, but you've spent it all on something else. You have to make it up now." The old man swore. "You're the one in debt," he fumed. "How can you accuse me of spending money? If the pig hadn't had a head, how do you think they'd ask me for money?" Enraged by such foolish talk, the father-in-law picked up a forked stick and belabored his son-in-law with it. The blind man groped his way over to make peace. "Sir," cried the old man, quivering with rage, "he simply isn't human. When I give him a piece of my mind, he answers me back like an idiot. It's enough to make anyone wild." "I didn't talk like an idiot, Dad," protested Qin Su Yuan. "I don't drink, gamble, or go whoring, do I? I read a volume of poems every day between my fortune-telling. What's wrong with that? We can leave everything else out of it, but you're wrong to neglect your wife and expect me to look after her. I can't afford it. If you're sorry your daughter's my wife, Dad, take her back." "Curse you! Why should I take my daughter back?" "To let her marry again." "A plague on you," the father-in-law was furious. "Unless you die or become a monk, how can she marry again?" "I shan't be dying just yet, but I'll become a monk tomorrow." "Go on, become a monk then." The old man was in a towering rage. After hearing all the nonsense they were talking, the blind man gave up trying to reason with them and groped his way back to his room. The next day, Qin Su Yuan shaved his head and sold his tile-shaped hat and brought a monk's cap. Then he presented himself before his father-in-law and placed his palms together in a monk's greeting. "The monk has come to say goodbye, Dad," he said. The old man gave a start and tears ran down his cheeks. He approached his son-in-law again, but when he found that Qin was already a monk, he told him to write a divorce certificate and took his daughter away. After this, as a bachelor, Qin Su Yuan had plenty of meat. He brought pork each day with the proceeds from his fortune-telling, and when he had eaten his fill, he would sit at his table by Literary Virtue Bridge reading poetry. He had not a care in the world. One day, about half a year later, he was reading there when a colleague named Ting Yin Chi strolled over to see him. "When did you buy that book?" asked Ting. 3 or 4 days ago." "Those poems were written at Oriole Throat Lake," remarked Ting. "That year, the third Mr. Hu invited those famous scholars Chow Hu-sei Chai, Qing Lan Qiang, Yang Chi Chung, Kuang Chao Jin, and Ma Chun Shang to a party at Oriole Throat Lake. They distributed rhymes and wrote these poems. I remember Chow Hu-sein Chai drew the rhyme Chi. Look at this first line. The lake is like an oriole's throat, and the sun is sinking low. In a single line, the subject is set forth, and each preceding line is so apt it couldn't apply to any other party." "You don't know what you're talking about. You ought to ask me," scoffed Qin. The third Mr. Hu was not the host of Oriole Throat Lake. That party was given by the third and fourth Lau brothers of the minister's family. My father was on a most friendly footing with the Lau gentleman. He was one of the party at Oriole Throat Lake with Mr. Yang Chi Chung, Mr. Chuan Wu Young, Mr. Niu Pu Yu, Mr. Chi He Sien Fu, Ainan Cheng, and the two Lau brothers. Mr. Yang's son was also there, making 9 of them altogether. My father told me this, as if I didn't know and you did. Do you mean to say, retorted Ting, that these poems by Chao Hu-sin Chai and Ching Lan Chiang are really by other people? Just think, could you write them? What you're saying now makes even less sense, jeered Chin. Chao Hu-sin Chai and the others wrote their poems at the West Lake, not at Oriole Throat Lake. It's written quite clearly. The lake is like an oriole's throat. How can you say it refers to a different party? This is an anthology of poems by many different scholars. Look at Ma Chun Shang, for example. He doesn't write poems usually. Then why is there one here by him? You're talking absolute rubbish. Ma Chun Shang and Chu He Sien Fu have written no end of poems, but of course you've never seen them. I've not seen them, but you have, I suppose. Apparently you are unaware of the fact that at Oriole Throat Lake Party no poems were written. You get hold of some crazy ideas and come here to argue with me like a madman. I don't believe it. How could so many famous scholars get together without writing poems? Just wait and see. It may turn out that your father never went to that Oriole Throat Lake Party. If he did, that means he was a true scholar, and I doubt if you can really be his son. You're raving, shouted Chin furiously. Who ever heard of a man falsely claiming a father? Chin Su Yuan, go ahead and write poems if you like. But why do you have to pose as Chin Ho Fu's son? Who do you think you are, Ting Yin Chi? You thrust yourself forward when all you've done is learn to recite a few poems by Chao Hu-sien Chai. Yet you hold forth like an authority on scholars. Ting leapt in his rage. So I shouldn't talk about scholars, eh? Well, you're not a scholar anyway. The two flared up, seized each other by the collar, and started fighting. Ting punched the monk on his shaven head till it nearly split with pain, and together they dragged each other up the bridge. Chin narrowed his eyes in a baleful slit, intending to pull Ting into the river with him. But Ting shoved him over first, and he rolled to the foot of the bridge, where he started howling and cursing. Just then, Chen Mu Nan came by and saw the monk flat on the ground in a shocking state. He hastily helped him up. What's the meaning of this? He asked. The monk, who knew who Chen was, pointed up the bridge. Look at that ignoramus Ting, he cried. He walks up to me and claims the party at Oriole Throat Lake was given by the third Mr. Hu. When I tell him the real facts, he refuses to believe me, and he says Chen Ho Fu is not my father. How can he say such a thing? Why quarrel over a little thing like that? Ting shouldn't have said that about your father, though. That was wrong of him. You don't understand, Mr. Chen, protested Ting. Of course I know he's Chen Ho Fu's son, but he puts on airs like a scholar. It's too ridiculous. Your colleagues, said Chen with a laugh. Why act like this? If Chen put on scholarly airs, how could Dr. Yu and Chuang Xiaoqiang have behaved? I'll have a bowl of tea with you both while you make it up. You mustn't quarrel any more. He took them to a small tea house by the bridge, where they drank some tea. I hear your cousins asked to go to Fukin, Mr. Chen, said the monk. Why haven't you started yet? That's why I came to see you, said Chen. I wanted my fortune told. When shall I be able to go? Our fortune telling is nothing but a trick, sir, said Ting. Just choose a good day and start. You don't need to have your fortune told. Half a year ago, sir, said the monk, we were never able to see you. The day after I became a monk, I wrote a poem on shaving my head and joining holy orders, then took it to your house for your criticism. But Mrs. Tung said you were out again. Where were you all the time? Why are you out today without your stewards? Pin Niang of Welcome Pavilion here appreciates my poems, so I often call to see her. She must be a cultured prostitute if she admires talent, you see. Ting turned to the monk. She's only a woman, yet she reads poetry. How could they do without poems at Oriole Throat Lake? Chin is right all the same, said Chun Mu Nan. The third Mr. Lau was one of my father's classmates. He used to be very friendly with Yang Chi Chung and Chuan Wu Young, but neither of them was famous for his poems. I heard that Mr. Chuan Wu Young got into trouble later, said the monk. What happened in the end? He was slandered by some licentiates in his college. Later he was cleared of that charge. After chatting for a time, the monk and Ting took their leave. Chin Mu Nan paid for the tea, and they walked to Welcome Pavilion. He found the board just inside the gate, threading cassia into balls with a flower seller. "Have a seat, Mr. Chin," she said casually. "I'll go upstairs to see Pin Niang," said he. "He's not at home today. She's gone to a party at Light Smoke Pavilion. I've come to say goodbye to her. I'm leaving soon for Fukien. Are you starting at once, Mr. Chin? Will you come back?" The slave girl brought out a cup of tea and handed it to Chin, but after one sip he put it down. The tea was cold. "Why don't you brew some fresh tea?" demanded the board. She put down the cassia balls and went into the gatehouse to curse the pimp. When Chin saw that he was being given the cold shoulder, he marched off. He had not gone far when he knocked into a man. "Mr. Chin," cried this fellow, "you ought to keep your word. Why do you make us run after you all the time?" "Yours is a large ginseng shop," protested Chin. "Why worry about a few dozen taels of silver? You know I'll pay you eventually." "I can't find your 2 attendants now," said the other. "When I come to your house, the old landlady comes to the door. You can't expect me to argue with a woman." "Don't get so excited," said Chin. "The runaway monk can't run with the temple. Of course I shall settle my bills. Come to my house tomorrow." "You must pay us tomorrow morning and not keep us running around." Saying this, the shopkeeper left, and Chin went back to his lodgings. "I'm in a fix," he thought. "My attendants have gone, and the board won't let me in. I finished my silver and piled up all these debts. I better go to Fukien." Without a word to Mrs. Tung, he was off like a streak of smoke. Early the next morning, the ginseng seller came to his house. He sat there for a long time, but not even a ghost appeared. Then, with a creak, the gate opened and another man came in. He was holding a fan inscribed with a poem and had a scholarly air. The ginseng seller stood up. "What is your name, sir?" he asked. "I am Ting Yin Chi. I have come to ask the 4th Mr. Chin's opinion of a new poem I have written." "I am looking for him too," said the ginseng seller. They sat there for a good deal longer, but still no one came out. Then the ginseng seller rapped on the spirit screen. Mrs. Tung came out then, leaning on a stick. "Who do you want?" she asked. "I've come to collect a debt from the 4th Mr. Chin." "Mr. Chin? By this time he must be at Kuan Yin Gate." "In that case, did he leave my money with you, ma'am?" asked the shopkeeper in dismay. "What a question! He's even done me out of my rent. Ever since he lost his head over that witch at Welcome Pavilion, he swindled everyone and got up to his neck in debt. You expect him to pay you your few taels of silver?" When the ginseng seller heard this, he was like a dumb man dreaming of his mother. He couldn't voice his distress. He stamped frantically in anger. "Don't be angry," Ting advised him. "It's no use losing your temper. You had better go back to your shop. The 4th Mr. Chin is a scholar. I'm sure he won't really cheat you. When he comes back, he is bound to clear his debts." After stamping helplessly up and down, the ginseng seller left. Ting strolled away, flaunting his fan. "So women can read poems too," he thought. "I've never been to the courtesan's quarter. I'll take the few pieces of silver I've saved and go there to have some fun." His mind made up, he fetched a scroll of poetry from his home, changed into the newest gown he had, which was half worn, and put on a square scholar's cap. Then he went to Welcome Pavilion. When the pimp saw what a simpleton he was, he asked him what he wanted. "I've come to discuss a poem with your young lady." "Please pay the admission fee then." He took up a yellow balance. Ting fumbly produced a wallet from his belt, with just over 2 taels and 45 cents in loose silver. "That's 55 cents short," said the pimp. "I'll bring you the rest when I've seen her." Upstairs, he found Pin Niang studying chess moves. He stepped forward and made a deep bow. Wanting to laugh, she offered him a seat and asked him his business. "I have long heard of your fondness for poetry, madam, and I have brought one of my unworthy compositions to ask your opinion of." "The rule of our house is not to read poems without first receiving a fee. I'll read your poems, sir, when I've seen your money." Ting fumbled for a long time in his belt, but all he fished out was 20 copies which he placed on a rosewood table. Pin Niang gave a peal of laughter. "You'd better give your money to the pimp at Feng Family Lane in Yi Ching," she said. "Don't dirty my table with it. Take it back at once to buy a few mouthfuls of food." Turning red and white by turns in his confusion, Ting hung his head, rolled up the scroll and put it in his gown, then crept downstairs and slunk home. The pimp had heard her ask this simple customer for a tip, so now he climbed the stairs. "How many taels did you get from that fool?" he asked. "Give them to me. I want to buy some brocade." "The poor fool had no silver," said Pin Yang. "He offered me 20 coppers, but of course I wouldn't take it. When I laughed at him, he left. You clever hussy. You get a fool as a client, but instead of making a handsome sum out of him, you let him get away. Do you think I believe you? You've been getting a lot of fat tips from your customers, but have I ever seen a cent of them? Are you blaming me for making so much money for you? Why make such a scene over a trifle like this? I shall marry and be a lady. How can you let a fool like that come upstairs? You should be glad I don't scold you. But instead you come here to nag at me." The pimp lost his temper and strolled forward. With a cuff, he knocked Pin Yang over. The girl rolled on the floor, tearing her hair and sobbing. "What have I done to be so hardly used? You've plenty of silver," she screamed. "You can get another girl. Let me go before I die." After sobbing and cursing the pimp, she screamed for a knife to cut her own throat or a rope to hang herself. Soon all her hair had come out. The pimp took fright and called his wife up. She reasoned and pleaded with the girl, but Pin Yang would not listen. She flew into such a temper that they had to give in to her. They let her go to Abbess Pen Hue in Long Life Nunnery, where she shaved her head and became a nun. But to know what happened next, you must read the chapter which follows.